over the years. He's my insurance broker, but he's become much more a part of my village. Ron and his wife Faye and his family, they adopted 2 animals at the Philadelphia Zoo in my name. So now I'm the proud parent of Tony the rhino and Sabia the African lioness. I couldn't be more ecstatic. I got all kinds of gifts, and I just, the love has just been enormous. So thank you. Thank you. Really know how to make a brother feel proud. Shout out to my mother. Mom, you got your dancing shoes? After this show today, I'm going out, and I'm going to hang out with the class of 1969 at Germantown High School. It's my understanding that that was the largest class in the city of Philadelphia at that time. The 1969 class at Germantown High School. We're going to be partying over at the Hilton on Sea Line Avenue this tonight. Mom, I got my dancing shoes. I'm going as my mother's date. And I just want to give a shout out to all of the teenage moms out there. You can work it out. It'll be all right. I was a result of a teenage pregnancy. And you know what? My mother and I really, over the years in the village, have really just had some real good times. From Sesame Street to Soul Train. We really have had a lot of time, sometimes, turning lemons into lemonade. I really want to give a shout out to her and just the village again. Mom, I'm ready. After I leave off the show, I'm coming right to your house. You don't have to text me. I'll be there. I'll be on time. My mom will get me together. So I want to also give a shout out to the Alzheimer's Association. They're going to be the next, we taped their episode yesterday down at the Alzheimer's Association down at 399 Market Street. We're gearing up for the walk in Philadelphia that was just going down on November the 10th at Citizens Bank Park in South Philadelphia. If you know somebody, if you have somebody that, that you're taking care of, or somebody that's passed away from Alzheimer's, certainly do want to encourage you to look at alz.org and join my team. Team Green, always best care. We are the top fundraisers for the last 7 years, and I want to thank everybody that participates in that. And so we are now gearing up our team. If you can't donate a monetary tax donation, then you certainly are welcome to join us in walking. Last year I had the special, indelible pleasure of being one of the folks that really had a chance to cut the ribbon before we walked. It was a great time. We are just really excited. I'm going to be taping the next episode down in Mays Landing, New Jersey for South Jersey Horse Rescue. South Jersey Horse Rescue is down at Mays Landing, and we're going to be taping that show. I want to remind my listeners that I am on TV on Channel 4 on Saturday mornings at 7 a.m. for Pennsylvania and New Jersey, and down in Delaware we're airing through the week on Channel 190 and Channel 7. Certainly want to give you a chance to check us out. We have a really special guest calling in, and I'm really happy and excited to feature him. Mr. Jeff Bradshaw, Philadelphia's own. He is a class act, and the brother just gives one of those great shows. He's gearing up for his show at the Ardmore Music Hall this Thursday, September 26th, and Friday, September 27th. Jeff Bradshaw, welcome to the show. How you doing?
Oh, man, thank you for having me, man. All is well. 50 strong, baby. I just turned 50, man, so I'm celebrating.
You right there with me, 1969, baby. Oh, yeah, right on. Wait, did you just have a birthday?
Yes, my birthday was September 4th.
Get out. Mine was September the 12th. Right.
Wow.
We got that in common. Virgo power, baby.
Virgo Nation.
Virgo Nation. You're some of the best people in the world are Virgos. You can't go wrong.
Yes, they are.
I'm so excited for you. I checked you out at the Dell, brother. You turned us out. Man, I didn't listen. I had heard of Jeff Bradshaw, but hearing about you and seeing you are two different things.
Yeah.
You're North Philadelphia's finest. Right on. So you can tell us about the show. Tell us first of all, what motivated you to get into music?
Oh, man, I was born in a church, man, born and raised in a church called the United House of Prayer for All People, where my family's still there. My mom is still there. I was surrounded by gospel brass bands, surrounded by music in the house all of my life. And my father was a great musician. He played guitar, trumpet, trombone. He sang. He was a great vocalist. And just being surrounded by it in church, man, and being surrounded by it at home, really gave me the bug, man. I had the bug, man. I was like, man, I really want to play an instrument. I want to do something, man.
Right on. And it's my understanding that you're kind of almost self-taught. Is that correct?
That is absolutely correct. My father, I kind of was born with ears, man. time I was about 15 years old, I could play about 15 instruments.
Wow, you played with such acts as Marsha Ambrosius, Will Downing, Black Thought of the Roots, Kim Burrell, Take Six, Najee, Bilal, Eric Roberson, Tweet, Kenny Lattimore, Trombone Shorty, and you just really have worked with some real good people. Robert Glasper. I'm reading the bio, and you're no stranger to the scene, you know. And so, what can we expect on Thursday and Friday? What you got in store for us?
Man, let me tell you something. You only turned 51 times. I've done some pretty big events in Philadelphia, and this city has opened its arms and loved me from the very, very beginning. And this is not going to be any different, man. It's going to be a 2-day 50th birthday celebration. And I'm bringing in some really, really incredible artists that I've worked with. That's why I toured as Jeff Bradshaw Friends since my live album that I did at 10. So I'm bringing in Tweet and Algebra Blessed, Kanye Dawes, Ashanti Can, and Domby.
Wow.
Philadelphia's own Carol Riddick is coming.
Oh, she could throw down too.
Man, that's my sister, man. We toured together for many years with Jill Scott. Ashanti Can and Domby. Who else? Jeff Morrell is coming. Trina Furby's coming. I mean, I have so many really artists that I've worked with over the years, man. Mickey Miller is coming. Some artists you may know. Some new artists that are really killing the soul music scene that I'm introducing to Philadelphia. So it's going to be a 2-night incredible celebration at Ardmore Music Hall. If you love me and you love great music and you follow my journey and you know what I do live and you know how my Jeff Bradshaw Friends concerts are always amazing, meet me at the Ardmore Music Hall Thursday and Friday, the 26th, 27th. ArdmoreMusic.com is the link to get your tickets, man. It is going to be an incredible, epic celebration. 2 nights.
Well, you know, I might slide through there one night. I'm not sure, but just in honor you, I don't know if you know or not, but you know, I am sponsoring these concerts. Always Best Care Team Green is a happy sponsor of these shows, and in lieu of that, I will be giving out a pair of tickets at 4:30 to the Thursday and the Friday show. I'm going to pump it up throughout the show, and I need to have you come into the studio next time. Next time I have you come to the studio, and I might want to feature you on you know, we need to talk offline for the TV show because you got Philadelphia. When you have somebody like you, and I don't know a lot of folks, whether they know it or not, you're very approachable, you're humble, you're professional, and I find you, I watched you from afar, you didn't even know it, you were giving a lot of people advice, because a lot of times people stop you and ask, you know, because, you know, when you're an artist in Philadelphia, I'm sure you can appreciate, a lot of people approach you and say, how do I get on? How do I get on? What do I do? What do I, you know, is this right? Is that right? And you know, you laughing because you know I'm right. You know I'm telling the truth. I watched you at the Dell, and you came out after your set, and you came out with us, and you watched the show, the rest of the show with us, and I was like, wow, he a real dude, you know, like approachable. So I want to have more of that energy on the show. Now it makes sense now. When you say Virgo, I mean that just explains it all anyway. So, but before I let you go, I want you to tell the people, if they're an aspiring musician, what is some of the best advice you can give them? Where do you start, right? That's a loaded question.
I mean, it's a loaded question, but, you know, it's really about practicing and sharpening your craft, man. Because no matter how many opportunities you may or may not get, not being prepared when you get the call to be the best musician or artist you can be is a very terrible thing. You always want to be prepared. Preparing, always in the shed, always practicing to be the best you can be. First, your abilities will take you so far, but being prepared, because there's a lot of components to being a musician. Being on time, again, being prepared, and just being a good person, a good listener, not a know-it-all. Always feeling like you can always be a sponge. I'm always a sponge. I'm always learning about music, about people, about life. You'll be surprised how many lessons that I've gotten from just talking to people like Jill Scott, Questlove from the Roots, Black Thought, Quincy Jones, Christian McBride, Jay-Z, Mary J. Blige, people I've toured with, Dave Chappelle, Tyler Perry, just sitting around these people and just listening to
Okay.
their journeys, listening to their advice. And they always say the same thing: be prepared, be on time, be a good person, and be a good listener.
Right on.
Always learn something from somebody, and that's from music. So I mean, I've learned everything. I'm from a recording artist, so I've learned so many things that are outside of music just by listening to those who have come before me. So many people that have sacrificed so I can have the opportunity as a trombone player from the hood in North Philly to be an international recording star. I've truly been blessed.
Yes, you have. That's Jeff Bradshaw. Jeff Bradshaw is going to be performing on this Thursday, September 26th, and Friday, September 27th at the Ardmore Music Hall, 23 East Lancaster Avenue. Jeff, thank you so much for calling in, and I'm going to give tickets away to your show, and I will be in touch. You got to come into the studio. We need more time with you.
Oh, man, anytime. Anytime. Let me know.
All right. You have a good one, and I'll see you on. I don't know if it's going to be Thursday or Friday, but I will stick my head in there and make sure you know I'm there.
Thank you, good brother. I appreciate you. I'll see y'all this week.
Peace and light. All right. So now, thanks to Jeff Bradshaw, I will be giving a pair of tickets out. Always Best Care Senior Services is a proud sponsor of the Ardmore Music Hall Music Series, and so I'll be giving out a pair of tickets at 4:30, and not a minute before, when we take our first music break, to the Thursday show and to the Friday show, to the first and fifth caller. And then I'll be giving out a pair of tickets at 4:45 to the Jeffrey Osborne and Peabo Bryson concert down on November 10th at the Tropicana in Atlantic City. So, moving right along, I have on the show with me, and I've been dying to get this doctor on my show. First of all, full disclosure, she's one of my doctors. And she's got a great personality. She is Dr. Thanaju Hamilton. She's a double board certified sleep medicine physician in the Philly area. Her practice is Avocare Sleep Physicians of South Jersey. She is the medical director of Jefferson. She is the medical director of Jefferson and Virtual Sleep Labs. She was featured the doctor of the cover of Philadelphia's magazine Top Docs issue and a top doc of South Jersey magazine. She contributes articles to the Metro, Philadelphia Style magazine, HuffPost, Glam.com, and has a column in the Philly Voice. In addition, she has been featured on many local news programs and is a recurring guest on the Dr. Oz show. Please, please welcome to my show, Dr. Hamilton. How you doing?
I'm so happy to be here. You know, when you put it like that, Brian, I wonder, when do I sleep? I don't know.
I was reading it. People ask me all the time, but when you like what you're doing, it really doesn't really always feel like work. So let's just get right to it. When you talk about sleep studies, so, we could start with, why is sleep so important? Let's start with that.
Sleep. First of all, when you think about it, if you're doing it the right way, you're getting 8 hours of sleep. That's a third of your day. That's a third of your life.
Yes.
That tells you right there it's important. It's the time for you to recover, rejuvenate, refresh. Your mind has a chance to have memory consolidation. I mean, it actually pertains to every single aspect of your life.
And so, being in the sleep doc, recently I was diagnosed with sleep apnea. And I know there's a lot of people listening that either have sleep apnea that has been diagnosed or undiagnosed. And I'm sure your partners, whether it's your husband or your wife, are sitting there like, "Ooh, you snore, baby. You wake up and you sore because somebody kicked you and punched you and pushed you out." And some of y'all really is going through it like you got to sleep in the other room because the snoring has gotten to be that bad. Yeah. Why do people snore? Where does that come from?
That's a good question. And snoring is really the vibrations, the turbulent flow of a crowded airway. Mm-hmm. So when you fall asleep, you ever sit there with a remote in your hand or your phone in your hand, you fall asleep, your muscles relax, you drop the phone, you drop the remote. Just like that, in your airway, your muscles relax, you drop your airway. And when it collapses, that's when you get the snoring. The issue is when it collapses all the way, that's when you have apnea or no airflow. So
apnea, so why is that dangerous? How dangerous is sleep apnea?
Yeah, good question. I mean, when your airway collapses, when you think about it, you're suffocating. So your brain goes into a panic. That sends out adrenaline surges. Your blood pressure goes up. Sends out cortisol. You get insulin resistance. Low oxygen levels. Your vessels constrict. You're not getting oxygen to your brain, to your body. Negative pressures from trying to breathe can bring acid up. Your pressure backs up to your lungs and your heart. They're working harder. Your heart stretches. I mean, there's so many different things that can be affected. when you're not breathing, when you're suffocating at night.
Wow. So, when you guys do a sleep study, what are you watching for? Some people say, and I've gotten more familiar with it because I do have sleep apnea, full disclosure. I just put all my business on the street.
I wasn't going to say it, Brian.
I put all my business, because you know why? Because, first of all, I'm 50. Type 2 diabetic, and so now I have sleep apnea, but I'm trying my best to deal with it. Yeah. And so sometimes these kind of ailments go hand in glove with each other, and you really have to understand how important it is to deal with it, and what will happen if you don't die. What will happen, from long range, either undiagnosed sleep apnea or untreated sleep apnea. So you can walk us through it.
Absolutely, sure. And yeah, people ask me, can you die from sleep apnea? It's not. Part of the reason why you're waking up and why you're tired is because your brain is protecting you from suffocating. You might get your muscle tone back to open up your airway. You might wake up and start gasping, or you might sleep through it. The problem is that with long-time effects, with long-time oxygen levels going low, well, now we're increasing the risk of stroke. Your vessels are constricting. Long-time effects of this, your heart is working harder. You get dangerous arrhythmias or rhythms of your heart that are abnormal, that can be deadly. People
Wow.
have died from sleep apnea. And there's so much more. I mean, it's not just your heart. It can affect your lungs. You get what's called pulmonary hypertension. Pressure backs up to your lungs, and that builds up. That can take an effect, and your breathing.
Wow. So if you just tuned in, I'm talking to my friend and my doc as of late, Dr. Thanet Hamilton. How do people get in touch with you? What's your phone number and what's your website?
Sure. So I'm at Advocare Sleep Physicians of South Jersey. Our website is advocaresp.com. That's Advocare Sleep Physicians, or sp.com. And our number is 856-778-4640.
And so when you talk about sleep apnea, as I got it, you can't talk about sleep apnea without talking about a CPAP machine. What in the world is a CPAP, and what is it all about?
Yeah.
Break it down. Talk to me like I don't know what it is.
Sure. So CPAP stands for continuous positive airway pressure. And basically, when you fall asleep and your muscles relax and your airway collapses, CPAP, or continuous pressure, blows air in, pressurized air, to open up your airway, keep it from collapsing. So now you're getting good oxygen. You're able to breathe. Your brain isn't going into that panic.
So that, you asked me a couple of questions, and I'll use myself as an example. Grinding your teeth at night, different things like that. And with the CPAP machine and the pressure and the water, and because you can't turn on TV nowadays on any station and not see a commercial that tells you how to clean your CPAP machine and how important it is to clean it out daily. And if you don't want to do that, you get this So Clean, and now they got another this one or that one. So the CPAP machine, a lot of times it becomes a part of your daily life. And I'm struggling. I'll be really honest with using it because I'm a new CPAP person, fairly new, and the struggle is having something on my face. Yeah. But there are so many different versions of the CPAP machine. On the second half of the show, we'll talk about the different versions of the CPAP machine. But for right now, when you have a CPAP machine and you do it, what is the process? What can somebody expect if they suspect that they have sleep apnea because somebody's been complaining that you're snoring? Yeah. That could be a major sign that you have sleep apnea. Right. What can somebody expect in the sleep study? Take us through what happens and what goes on.
Sure. And it's easier said than done. We say, okay, go there and sleep. But
it's not that easy.
That's right. You haven't. Although, interestingly, I sent my dad for a sleep study. I hope it's okay that I'm saying this.
Yes, it is.
I said, Dad, how was it the next morning? He said, oh, it was great. I slept. And so, some people sleep right through it. Some moms love it because it's an excuse to get out of the house. But you're going to have electrodes. We're looking at your brain waves. We're looking at your oxygen levels, your airflow, your heart rhythm, your abnormal movement. So you do have a number of wires on you. That's the difficult part. Okay. We understand that, and we know that you're going to have a hard time falling asleep and waking up, but we get it. We get the data, and that's what tells us what's happening. When
they made me go through a sleep study, I had to go through. I was supposed to go through a second one, one without the sleep CPAP machine, and then the second one is supposed to be with a CPAP machine. And a lot of insurances, and I got to go down that vein of insurances because everybody can't afford one by themselves. And anyhow, it's kind of a use it or lose it kind of a situation.
Yeah.
You know, the insurance companies are very, very sensitive to sleep apnea.
Well, CPAP machines have gotten much more sophisticated. And remember, CPAP stands for continuous positive airway pressure.
Okay.
So that's pressure blowing in to open up that airway, right? Now we can tell whether you're using it, when you're using it. Some people, you know, turn it on and just leave it off their face. We know, Bryant. I know. So I'm watching you. But insurance companies say, look, if we're paying for this, you better be using it. So they now have certain requirements. CDL drivers, DOT drivers have requirements. Generally, it's usually around 70% usage is what they want. That's 5 nights per week, 4 hours per night minimum is what they want. And if you're not using it, then they might ask for it back.
You know, it's interesting. I'm glad you brought that up because it almost slipped my mind. You know, in some professions, the people that drive for a living, you know, if you've got sleep apnea, you drive, or you might drive a plane, you might be a pilot or something like that, you know, if you, even people at work, if you're not getting proper sleep, then you could doze off, you know, and you're just right there because your body's not getting the proper rest. You never realize how much important sleep is. And it's funny, when we started this conversation in the beginning, when you said, you know, when you, Brian, oh my God, when do I rest? You know, how do I do it all? You know, a lot of times people that work multiple jobs, or I'm going to put it out there and if I get in trouble for it, but my caregivers. If you're taking care of somebody, especially my family caregivers, I want to focus on you for a minute because, you know, companies like mine on the average are in the home from 4 to 6 hours to give you that extra pair of hands, right? But then if you're taking care of somebody, for instance, that has Alzheimer's, my family caregivers that take care of folks that have Alzheimer's, no, that's a 24/7 gig. And so you really have to be responsible, or hopefully you have a backup team or support, but if you don't, then you don't get the proper rest. And when you don't get the proper rest, it can wear your body down on all levels. Go ahead.
You know, Brian, you know, in that Hoboken train accident where somebody died and a number of people were injured, it turned out that train conductor had severe sleep apnea that had been undiagnosed and untreated.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
And by the way, you mentioned Alzheimer's disease. So the NIH put out new research that shows that poor sleep or sleep deprivation increases the risk of Alzheimer's disease. There's something called beta amyloid. It's a plaque that builds up in your brain that gets cleaned out during the night when you sleep. When you're not sleeping, it doesn't get cleaned out. It builds, and now it increases that risk of Alzheimer's disease. Another reason to get enough sleep.
Wow. Wow, you gave me so much to think about. So all of my drivers out there, particularly my SEPTA drivers, my Amtrak or my regional rail drivers, make sure you're getting the proper sleep. And if you do have sleep apnea, it's okay. You're not alone. It ain't sexy at night, but it'll give you some good rest. And from what got me, shout out to my brother, my frat brother Evan Pratt from the Bronx. He was instrumental in really making it an issue to really get a sleep apnea machine. You know, we traveled not too long ago. I think I took him to one of the award shows with me. And anyway, we had a hotel room, and obviously, you know, he said, "Brian Green, Lord have mercy, you." He said, and it's bad because at least he has a wife at night. I live alone, and so you know, I'm stopped. He said, "You're sleeping, you're gagging," and I do. I wake up sometimes, I'm choking. You know, I mean, all of that. He said, "You got to get a CPAP machine because you know you can take it on the plane. It's all right." And now because of the different versions and the updated technology, it's not as big like a big machine anymore. It's something that you can really manage. But if you don't get it done, and I got to tell you, the times that I was using the sleep apnea machine, I just got to get back into the routine of it. I did feel a lot better.
Yeah.
I have to admit it. I dream more.
Right. You know, REM sleep is your dream sleep when your muscles are most relaxed. In fact, your airway collapses more. So some people get kicked out of REM sleep because your brain is protecting you. Or you might have vivid dreams and nightmares because your brain is going haywire with the low oxygen levels. So now, what was the name of your friend who told
Evan
you?
Pratt.
Oh, shout out to him.
Shout out to Ev. Ev is one of my frat brothers from New Side chapter of Omega Psi fraternity. He really did get on my neck. Sometimes you need an advocate to really do that. All right, it's 4:30, and as promised, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to play some Jamaica funk, and I'm going to offer my listening audience, if you're interested and you want to come down and check out Jeff Bradshaw and friends at the Ardmore Music Hall either Thursday or Friday night, I'm going to ask you to call in right now at 215-634-8065 or toll free 1-866-361-0900. Again, I'm giving out tickets to the first and the fifth caller to go check out Jeff Bradshaw at the Ardmore Music Hall. He's going to turn it out. Stay tuned as we can come back on the other side. We're going to continue our conversation with Dr. Hamilton. Oh, we gotta wait. We got technology. So people are the lines are lighting up. So my producer's telling me, Brian, talk a little bit more. This show is brought to you by Always Best Care Senior Services, and here we go.
What's up, man? I was at this place. Man, what was you doing, man? What's up with that? Man, I was doing the ooh. Hey, yo, man, them eyes. What's up? I've been hanging out at the Fantasia, you know, they been rocking their hands. Hey, man, what's up with the Fantasia, man? What's up with that? Females is all right. Hey, they be deaf. They be deaf. I want that. Hey, yo, what's up with that? Hey, Mike, you got that, man? You got that, man? Hey, man, I got the cosmos. Hey, man, go ahead, take it to the cosmos. I said, I got the cosmos. The referee going down 165th Street, passing that ball. Oh, man, don't do it to me. Oh, man, she look like Betty Boop. Betty Boop. Betty Boop. I booty do. A Betty Boop and an alley was jumping up and down.
Welcome back to the Did You Know Show. My name is Brian Green. I'm the host of the Did You Know Show on TV as well. Check me out on Saturdays at 7 a.m. in the morning on Channel 4 for Verizon and Comcast. That's for Pennsylvania and Jersey. For my Delawareans, we're on through the week on Channel 7 and 190, depending on where you live at in the state. Looks like we got 2 winners. I'm waiting for my producer to give me the name so I can call them out. Let's see. Stephen Robertson and Monica Gibbs, you're going to check out Jeb Bradshaw Friday and Thursday this coming week at the Ardmore Music Hall. If you were following the show, the top of the show, I'm going to let you know that Always Best Care and Platinum Productions are teaming up to bring you a night of really good music on November the 9th down at the Tropicana. You got Peebo Bryson and Jeffrey Osborne performing that night, and I'm going to give out a pair of tickets at 4:45 and not a minute before. I am returning the conversation to my guest today, Dr. Hamilton, and just out of pure coincidence, I want to give a shout out to her parents who are in the studios with me today. Dr. Hamilton and Dr. and Mrs. Hamilton are celebrating their 50th wedding anniversary. A lot of things went down in 1969. They were high school sweethearts. So congratulations. They're up here visiting their daughter. Your dad's a doctor, primary care physician, and what, pharmacy consultant. And then we're going to return the conversation to Dr. Hamilton, and she is my sleep study doctor, and she got me together. She keeps me together. And, you know, I have dealt with a lot of doctors over the years for one reason or another, and I must say she's a breath of fresh air. Her staff is warm and friendly. They got right in. It wasn't like I had to wait 3 or 4 months for an appointment. You guys, you know, really, really did make me feel comfortable. You know, it's a lot of things, you know, getting old. Let me say this to my listening audience. Nobody is an expert at getting old, right? You know, you only go this way but once. And so, you know, when I say that, you know, you got to sometimes, you know, you got to change your plan. Who knew? At 25, I wasn't planning on getting sleep apnea, but hey, it is what it is. I'm just glad to be here because a lot of my friends did not get to 50. So everybody that was born in 1969, shout out to you. Again, I'm going after the show. I'm going to go hang out with the Germantown class of 1969. We're partying over at the Hilton. I'm going to be at my mother's date. You guys get to see who the baby was in that class. So, Dr. Hamilton, as we continue our talk about sleep apnea, what is the most common disorder that you see?
Sleep apnea is the most common disorder, but you know, more and more, with the rise of more social media out there, I'm seeing insomnia, you know, just poor sleep hygiene.
Oh, wow.
That's happening a lot, yeah.
And so, you know, with that, what are some tips for better sleep?
For one thing, so electronics like your cell phones, your iPads, your computers, your TV, they have blue wavelengths that keep the brain awake. Melatonin is your natural sleep neurotransmitter. That's secreted about an hour or 2 before bed. When you've got that blue wavelength, it's keeping your natural melatonin from being released. The other thing is, you ever notice, so I think I'm one of 5 people in Philly that doesn't have a TV in her room. Everybody has a TV in their room.
I got TV in every room.
Bryant, yeah, take it out of the bedroom, because what happens, you know, when I'm at a hotel, I've got that TV at the foot of the bed. Of course, I've got the remote. I'm watching TV. All of a sudden, I fall asleep watching Law and Order. I got to see who did it, right?
Right.
Well, the fact that, 1, you fall asleep with a remote in your hand tells you should have been sleeping earlier. 2, it's not, the bed is only for 2 things. Sleep and sex. That's okay. We can say that.
Yes.
And if they're not happening within 15 minutes of being in that bed, you shouldn't be in there. So no TV. That's right. That's right.
Keep it real.
So no TV, no electronics. You should shut everything off about 30 minutes before bed and have a nice bedtime ritual. Something, you know, relax, wash your face, dim the lights, some mood music to set the stage for sleep.
Okay.
So that's a big tip.
You know, we were talking on the break, and you know, before we go into the different, I guess, the CPAP and mask and the other options. You mentioned that, you know, we're in football season and athletic performance.
Yes.
How is that related? How is it important?
And by the way, one of our favorite Eagles players, Reggie White, had sleep apnea, and he actually died from sleep apnea. I'm just putting that out there.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
That's right.
Yeah.
Wow, I just remember that. Okay.
Right, but as far as athletic performance, I mean, you're not on your game when you haven't slept enough, when you haven't gotten sleep. Nobody is. But there are studies that have actually shown poor sleep, sleep deprivation, sleep apnea that's untreated, all of those things can affect your accuracy, your speed, your precision, your concentration. There was a study out of Stanford for basketball players, college basketball players. Those who got enough sleep actually improved their three-point accuracy and their sprint times. I think that was by 9%. So that tells you how much it can affect your game. Plus, it helps recovery, injury.
Your mood.
Absolutely, your mood. Yeah.
You know, it's nothing like getting on the subway and falling asleep and missing your stop.
Are you one of those?
I have in the past. I have. I'm not gonna lie. When I used to ride the subway every day, listen, my trek across town used to be the 52 bus, the L, and then the sub to Broad every day, both ways. And so sometimes, and I was young then, but sometimes when you're working and you have a strenuous job, you know, I'm not the first person to nod off, and so you have to really watch and be careful of that. You know, we were talking also. Okay, so we get to the CPAP, the CPAP machine, and then what does that CPAP stand for again?
Continuous positive airway pressure.
Okay. And so there are different variations of it, and I know of a few people that have opted not to go with a CPAP. So can you take us down the options?
Sure. And it's, you know, the CPAP isn't the only option, but it is the gold standard. So remember, with sleep apnea, it's an anatomical issue. Your airway's collapsing. So there's no pill we can give you to treat it. We've got to open up that airway. So CPAP opens it up, but there's also surgery, things to remove what's in there.
Is that right? So wait. Surgery. Let's not
Yes.
Let's not glance over that. Does that mean like tonsillectomy, getting rid of your adenoids?
Tonsillectomy? Yeah, yes, they've done tonsillectomy, adenoidectomies. There's something called...
Admit it, you're impressed. You're impressed. I know a little something.
That's right. I'm very impressed, Brian. There's also something called a uvulopalatopharyngoplasty, UPP. They remove the uvula. That's the little punching bag in the back of the throat, some of the roof of the mouth. They can go so far as to bring the jaw forward, the tongue forward. They're now robotic. There's also a new implanted device. It's called the Inspire Upper Airway Stimulator, and that can be implanted under the skin. It sends electrodes to the nerves of breathing and gives a little stimulation to pull the tongue forward. There's also
somebody I know got that. Somebody I won't call him out, but that's what they were. He could not. Because we were talking about it. It was funny. I put a while back. People tell me I put all my business out there, but I do. I put a picture of a CPAP machine out there on Facebook, and I think you and a few other people commented. You saw how many people commented that I have one.
That was a popular post.
I have one. I have one. And so one guy inboxed me and said, "Hey, Bri, I did not get this. I tried the CPAP machine. It didn't work for me because I kept pulling it off at night. I got this. He got his surgery. He got something, and now you just explained it. Now go through it again. Say it again.
So sure, it's implanted under the skin. It's not as invasive as you might think. It has electrodes to it's called the hypoglossal nerve, and it basically stimulates it to bring the tongue forward so it doesn't collapse into your airway. It's not for everybody, but for some it can be very helpful.
Wow. And so, let's go back to CPAP. So the CPAP.
Well, another option would be dental devices. So a mandibular advancement device. Basically, it brings the jaw forward. The only thing is, how far can you bring that jaw forward? So it tends to work for the milder sleep apnea. You want to be careful about your temporomandibular joint, or TMJ, your bite. If you bring it forward too much, you can cause some jaw pain, things like that. There's positional therapy, adjustable beds. Reverie makes a great adjustable bed that raises, or you can avoid sleeping on your back. There are other things out there.
Wow. And so I just got a million questions to ask you, but if you just tuned in, my name is Brian Green, the host of the Did You Know Show. You listen to Black Talk Media, 96.1 FM, 900 AM, sitting here with Dr. Thanaju Hamilton. And shout out, and I would be remiss if I didn't shout out my buddy. I met Dr. Hamilton at the Night of Champions, and you were with my good friend Gino Vento.
That's right.
Gino, shout out to Gino.
Hi, Gino.
Gino from Gino Steaks. I always rip him on Facebook, about being nice to the dog. I always coach him about being a pet owner because I have the farm. But when you talk about sleep apnea, does it go after any genealogy more than any? Is it more black people than white people? Is it more heavy people than skinny people?
Yeah, that's a great question. Yes. Studies have shown that African Americans and Asians, it's just your craniofacial anatomy, have an increased risk. Yes. But it's multifactorial. So risk factors for sleep apnea. Weight is one of them, but it's not just weight. I have some young, skinny people with sleep apnea. It's anatomical. So your tonsils, your uvula, the roof of the mouth, the angle of the jaw, if it's recessed, the airway collapses more. Age, just like the muscles in your arms weaken, the muscles in your airway weaken. Neck size greater than 17 in men, greater than 16 in women. Anything that makes your airway relax more. You know, when you've had alcohol, you tend to snore more. That's because your airway relaxed more. Or if you have inflammation, when you have allergies, you snore more. That's because your airway's crowded. It's narrowed.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, as promised, it's 4:45, not a minute before or after. I'm going to offer the listening audience, if you call in right now at 215-634-8065, you can get a pair of tickets to go check out Peabo Bryson and Jeffrey Osborne, and they're performing down in Atlantic City at the Tropicana on November the 9th. If you're my fifth caller, give me a call right now, and I'm going to lace you up with a pair of tickets. As we wind down the show, Dr. Hamilton, give your information one more time, and I'm going to tell you to do it slowly, because we have a lot of seniors that listen.
Sure. It's advocaresp.com. That's Advocare, ADVOCARE, S is in sleep, P is in physicians.com for Advocare Sleep Physicians. Our phone number is 856-778-4640.
That number again?
856-778-4640.
Now I'm getting into your business. Do you take all insurances?
You know, the staff will have to check on that, but
Right.
you know, we see all types of patients, and it's not just, we don't just see sleep apnea. We also see insomnia patients. We see restless legs or abnormal movements, dream enactments, sleep behavior disorder. We see.
Wait, stop, slow down. What is that?
So REM sleep is your dream sleep. That's when your muscles are most relaxed. That's when you're actually paralyzed. Well, some people, they don't stay paralyzed. They actually start acting out their dreams. They might dream they're running away from somebody and jump off a bridge, but they actually jump off their bed and hurt themselves. They might be fighting in their sleep but punch their wife. So that
wow.
Yeah, it can be dangerous, and we treat
So
that.
they call that sleepwalking, or that's not sleep?
No, that's different. It's REM sleep behavior disorder.
Wow.
Yeah, and there's also narcolepsy and something called idiopathic hypersomnia. That's narcolepsy's younger sister. But yeah, there's
Explain, what is that? What is
Sure.
that?
So narcolepsy is it's a neurologic disorder. It's an imbalance in our sleep. When you're supposed to be awake, you're sleepy. Oftentimes when you're supposed to be asleep, you might wake up. It's a drowsy disorder. And idiopathic hypersomnia is the milder version of that. And people with narcolepsy or drowsy disorders go through their life frustrated. They're sleepy, they're tired all the time. And others might think that they're lazy. They might feel they're inadequate, but really it's a disorder that they can't help, and we can help them.
Wow. Is that help with medicine, or?
That's generally medication, but also there's some behavioral techniques that we discuss as well.
You know, I was one of the things I talked about during my taping with the Alzheimer's. One of the things we talked about was meditation. Mm-hmm. I don't know what your opinion of meditation. Do you think that would help somebody?
Sure, that can be great. There are some great meditative apps out there. There's even, I have a couple patients who do binaural beats. It's basically a change in frequency that goes into each headphone, and that difference in frequency is actually relaxing. They do that with meditation. There are all sorts of things. Whatever works for you. Different things work for different people. White noise can help block things out. Yoga helps some people.
Wow. So looks like we have a winner. Joe Simmons, are you on the line? Is he on the line? Joe Simmons, congratulations. You're going to check out Jeffrey Osborne and Peabo Bryson.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for listening. So out of the two, who's your favorite?
Jeffrey Osborne.
Me too. I'm an LTD fan from way back. So I'll check you out down there. We're going to be in touch with you, and thank you for listening.
All right, thank you.
Take care. All right, so if you just tuned in, my name is Brian Green. I'm on the Did You Know Show. As we wind down the Did You Know Show, we're here Saturdays at 4 p.m. I want to remind the listening audience that we are also on TV on Channel 4 at 7 a.m. on Verizon and Comcast. We're right now featuring Praise is the Cure for Cancer, which is starting next week, September 29th, and they end off the week on October the 5th with a great gospel ensemble. They have a pampering party. They have a health fair, health initiative, and it's one of these things that it's a free event to the community. Anita and Carrie Connor are consummate professionals. They're the tax divas, and they do financial planning, but they also tell their story and their journey of battling cancer. Anita had cancer and battled it and finished it. And then now Carrie is currently battling cancer, and they don't mind me telling you because they put it out there. Carrie wrote a book, My Mom Has Cancer, but my mommy has cancer, but it's okay. So you can check that out on Amazon. I want to also give a shout out to the Philadanco. Philadanco is also on October the 5th having their big concert, Genesis, to celebrate their 50th anniversary. It's a lot of things started in 1969. They are. Shout out to Joe Myers Brown. They are going to have their event down at the Kimmel. It's going to be wonderful. They're going to have selected acts, the popular acts, and they have some real good ballerina pieces that I have just loved over the years. I'm a big fan. I'm happy enough to be on the Philadanco board, and I'm going to have to split my time. I have to figure it out because guess who? What? Bryant Green is being honored for the Talent and Devotion Award for Jefferson. I'm on the board, both sides, on the board and subcommittees on both sides, on education and as well as the health side. And so, I do a lot of different things with Jefferson. One thing that we were really proud about is that we created a scholarship for business majors. And shout out to Jefferson Lopez. He's from Ecuador, and he got our scholarship last year. So this we're going to have during homecoming this year. Somebody's going to be awarded with our scholarship. It's my absolute proud moment to give back that way. My only requirement is that you're a business student. You have to have good grades and be a business student, and you could be a freshman, through senior. And we, through Always Best Care, we're happy to, really help business majors. Dr. Hamilton, as we wind down the show, I'm going to let you close out a little bit and give us some advice on what we should do if, again, we suspect, if your spouse, your loved one, your partner, or whatever or if you think you suspect have sleep apnea, what should you do?
The truth is, it's best to see a professional and let them see, is it just simply snoring or something more like sleep apnea? So either talk to your doctor or see a sleep specialist, and they can do the studies to see. The other thing is don't let testing scare you. There are other options.
Because it scared me.
I know it did. I know.
Keep it real.
Yes, there are home studies that we can work out as well in special circumstances. So we can get a person comfortable, get them diagnosed and treated.
And you guys are wonderful. I endorse different businesses, but I'm going to endorse this physician. I use this physician. She's personable. She's not condescending, because a lot of times the fear of going to see a physician is that they're going to condescend and talk over your head and rush through the appointment. That's a natural fear. I can say I am a minority, as she is, and she takes her time. She keeps it real. She don't take she ain't no punk. She don't take no tea for the fever. Now, your reports come back bad and you're not doing what you're supposed to do, you're going to get dealt with. She's going to get you together. But it's done in a way that, you have a really good positive outcome. I am a CPAP user. I should be using it more.
I'm going to look at your report when I get to the office on Monday, Brian.
It's bad. And our appointment is coming up, so I'm definitely going to use it. So I'm not going to use it more. I haven't been using it like I should. But I share my business so that, hopefully somebody out there needs to hear it, that you can do better. Again, I want to give a shout out to her father and her mom that's sitting in the studio, Dr. Hamilton and his wife, Mrs. Hamilton. They were high school sweethearts in 1969. Shout out to my mom, Sandra Greenright Saunders. Mom, you ready? I'm on my way to come get you so we can go celebrate with the class of 1969, Germantown High School. Dr. Hamilton, thank you for coming on the show. We're going to end off, what did I say we're going to end off with? I'm going to dedicate this song from the Spinners. It's a shame, because I think that was written in 1969. So I picked it out as one of the first concerts my mother took me to go see. In 79 or 76, we went to the Latin Casino to see Sister Sledge opened up for the Spinners. I remember that concert because I was Mom's date. And a lot of times I got a chance to go to see a lot of concerts because Mom didn't want to, get a babysitter. She just said, come on. And I reaped the benefit of that again and again and again and again. All right, this is me tuning out. Dr. Hamilton, thanks for coming on the show. Give your information one more time before we go.
It's Advocare Sleep Physicians of South Jersey. I'm so happy to be here, by the way. You're a wonderful person. You do so much for the community. You're a Renaissance man, so it's really an honor to be here.
Oh, wow. Get your phone number one more time.
Sure, 856-778-4640.
Okay, that's it for me. I got to make room for Islam today. They're coming on next, and we're going to end it off with the Spinners. It's a shame.
you mess around with your man. It's a shame the way you hurt me. It's a shame the way you mess around with your man. I'm sitting all alone by the telephone, waiting for your call. When you don't call at all, it's a shame the way you mess around with your man. It's a shame the way you play with my emotions. It's a shame the way you mess around with your man. You're like a child at play on a sunny day. First you play with her, and then you